Greg Hennis alongside Doug Keefe. We would like to welcome you to Beachcomber Coins and Collectibles at 6692 Black Horse Pike here in Egg Harbor Township. We are just down the road from Boscov's and Walmart. Doug, it's great to be back at Beachcomber Coins and Collectibles, and I love coming here. I'm always excited to come here, learn about the history, learn about what you do.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Greg. Great having you back, and always enjoy talking with you. And this month actually marks my 53rd year in business.
Really?
53 years we've been doing this. 53 years been having fun. We opened in Brigantine in 1970. We had monthly auctions in the shop and what have you, but that was the beginning of the Arab oil embargo. And we're considered, are people going to want to get in the car and drive to Brigantine? It's a destination. So that's when the Shore Mall down the street was just being built with our last expansion. Steinbeck's was going in there. We said, let's give it a shot. Let's go there and talk to the owner and see if I can make a deal. And I talked to the owner. I made a deal. Long story short, we had good years and bad. We were in the mall for 39 years. But then the mall owners decided for tax purposes, they wanted to knock the mall down. And we went to several places. We started the Hamilton Mall. We went to different places along the pike there. And something came across my desk that this building was for sale. The revenue stream was okay, so I'll entertain an offer of buying it. We've been here going on 11 years now. But now things are changing. Business is changing, the economy is changing, retail is changing. We looked at ourselves and said, do we really need retail in the store? And that's when we made the monumental decision of no, we don't. We're too small. We can't have a lot of people in here. It doesn't work, and it can get in the way of what business we do want to conduct. So that's when we said, no more retail in the store. We have most of our merchandise online at this point. You can buy supplies from us through that bank window. You can go ahead and say, I need a red book, or I need some coin holders, or I need some things of this nature. We can do it right through the window. You don't even have to come in, and that's how it works. So what we're geared to right now, we're major buyers. We buy almost everything, and we'll go through that. But we're more geared toward people that have collections they want to sell. And that's what we're here for, is to accommodate that. And also, we are sellers of investment-grade bullion coins. The American Gold Eagle, the American Silver Eagle, silver coins, silver rounds, silver bars, 5 and 10 ounce bars. We have those offered for sale. So that's basically our business model at this point forward. Next door, we have an area where we can have a private sit down with our customers if need be, that they have a big collection that we need to sit down and go through it, and it's working.
So one of the things that you told us there was about your new process about, making appointments.
Yes.
How does that exactly work?
We would ask you to call 609-645-1031 and talk to one of the employees and say, I'd like to have an appointment to come and see you. We encourage appointments for people that have something they really need to talk to us about, really need to spend time with. If you can walk up the window, although we encourage it, and you don't have an appointment, you walk up the window, we'll probably be able to take care of you without any difficulty. One thing that is mandatory for an appointment is we are a state and federally licensed firearms dealer. And as such, you must have an appointment with me, because I'm the only one that buys the firearms in the business. So that we don't want you walking over here with a gun and nobody can help you. So for that reason, we require in that situation that you make an appointment with me so that I can take care of everything.
So, one of the staples of the business, gold and coins, that's what you would call the bread and butter, right?
Coins are our roots, but from an investment standpoint right now, and always, there have been a certain segment of the population that is interested in what they call hard currency. That's gold and silver. And for that reason, they want to have a few pieces of gold or some silver put away. And I liken it as an insurance policy. We can now be competitive in pricing. If you're ordering it from California, you're going to have to ship it in. So you're going to pay insurance, you're going to pay postage and such. So you consider with me, you're walking up, you're buying it right here, and you're walking home with it. There's no wait. You've got it all taken care of.
So when it comes to gold and silver, I know there's several machines that you have, one in particular.
The main piece that we have is an X-ray machine. It's a $20,000 toy, but it takes a piece of metal and tells you what the composition is. Obviously, if it's gold, it's going to tell you it's gold. It's going to tell you what percent is gold. That is the reason we have this equipment, so that in case we have a question about what it is, we can put it in the machine. machine, be a digital readout of everything. It'll be the gold. Sometimes there's silver in there. There's other alloys in there that make it harder. The main thing is making sure the gold is in there that it's supposed to be.
Last time we were here, you made the announcement that you were going to get into buying watches, and it's something that has done very well.
It has. If you see those little yellow boxes over there,
Yeah.
they contain watches.
Oh,
And Chris is my watchman there. He's sitting there right now researching them and getting ready to put online. So yes, we have. We bought everything from pocket watches to boxes full of leftover watches. There's a use for all of it, and there's two types of watches: the pocket watch and the wristwatch. The pocket watch obviously preceded the wristwatch, and you get a lot of those old watches. They're 100 and some years old, and they still work. They're a beautiful piece of equipment. Pocket watches are priced based on the quality of the movement. If it's all things considered, if it's in a base metal case and moving, 7 jewels is just like a basic Timex. Okay, it was an expensive watch. It works, but it wasn't very expensive. You get up into the number of jewels in it. You get up into what they call railroad grade. Back in the days when these pocket watches were used, they were used by railroad engineers, conductors. Railroads ran on time. There wasn't this thing, well, it's going to take off another half an hour, maybe it's late, but If it was due to go out at 12:01, it went out at 12:01, and the watch would be there in front of them, and they'd signal 12:01, go. And these watches had to be a minimum jewel movement, and they had to be tested on a regular basis so that they're high quality. 17 is a minimum. 17 jewels is a minimum for a railroad watch. 23 jewels is kind of the top of the line, the highest end of them. To answer your question, 2 words or less, yes, we deal watches.
Let's take it a step further. What about some of those grandfather type clocks, antique type clocks, specialty clocks, anything like that you would be interested in?
We do have what they call mantle clocks, things of this nature offered to us occasionally. And the question is, well, what do you buy? We tell people, ask. Sometimes people have a collection of Bradford Exchange plates. Grandmom collected them because she liked the theme. Maybe it was Norman Rockwell, so all the plates had something about Norman Rockwell on them. And again, and people go, why did Grandmom spend all that money on? Grandmom enjoyed collecting them. Made Grandmom happy. That is where the value is. That's the differential between collecting and investing. If you're collecting, you're doing something to make you happy. If you're investing, you're researching your merchandise and buying like you would buy a blue chip stock. Something is rare, something's high quality, something that has the potential of reaching more value in the future. And I have that argument all the time with people. If you look behind you, all the Hummels down there, now we used to be a Hummel dealer. Those originally probably retailed anywhere for $50 each. The market is gone. Grandmom was a collector of those things. Grandmom's gone. Dust collectors is what this current generation calls them. You can have your choice there at $10 each. Wow. And that is where the Hummel market is right now. So
at their peak, what were they worth?
We sold Hummels for over $2,000.
Wow.
I mean, they had what they call the century pieces, the bigger pieces, and all. We were direct Hummel. I mean, we were in the mall. We had a Hummel case, and as the new items came in, they went in the Hummel case. And the gentleman is buying it for his mother or his wife would come in at Christmas time and say, oh, I'll take that. She doesn't have that one. I'll take that one. But again, the collectors have disappeared. So because supply and demand and condition are the 3 legs of a stool that determine the valuation of anything. And if you have a supply and no demand, it doesn't matter what the condition is, it has no real value to it. So for that reason, certain items that were desirable in the past are not really desirable now because they invariably come into us to be sold, and people walk out very disappointed that what they paid, they get a fraction back of what they paid for these things.
Many people choose to take these vacations. They go out of the country and they return and they've got some of that foreign currency left over, and they're not going to necessarily be going back anytime soon, so it's just kind of collecting dust. Yeah. Do you buy foreign currency?
We do. We buy it, and people will come in buckets full of it. And basically what we do is the coins are 3 cents each, and the paper monies are a dime each. So yes, we buy it. That's something and what we end up doing with the coins in most cases is making 10-pound bags out of them, selling 10-pound bags that will be sold to usually families They want their kids to go through coins and learn coins of foreign countries and things of that nature. And that's how the children become familiarized with coinage and such. And many countries are cutting back on their coins. Canada, for example, has cut out the 1 cent coin back in 2014. There's been a lot of effort to get the United States to stop issuing 1 cent coins because it costs almost 2 cents to make a 1 cent coin. Not very good business model if you're losing and also with a 5 cent coin, that costs almost twice as much to take a 5 cent coin. So you'll find that a lot of countries are doing away with that. Also, going the other way, there's efforts afoot to do away with certain amounts of paper money, certain denomination paper money. Canada has cut out their $1 and $2 paper money.
Wow.
And issued $1, $2 coins. Okay, so you get used to carrying it. Euro is the same thing. You go over to European Union, the 1 and 2 euro are coins. The United States government has been trying to get $1 coins into circulation again since 1971 when they issued the Eisenhower dollar. Now, the Eisenhower dollar was an ugly coin. It was the same size as an old silver dollar. It bulk in your pocket. Nobody wanted to walk around with them. Okay. So then they came out with what they called the Susie B. Anthony dollar. That came out in 1979. Well, that was almost the same size and color as a quarter. So people sold it as a quarter. And as a result, that wasn't popular. Then they said, well, maybe if we change the color, that'll work. So they came out with a sachet Jouet in 2000. And that was a gold color. Well, people call up and say, do you buy gold coins? Yeah. Well, I've got this 2000 coin that's got gold. No, it's not a gold coin. It's just gold in color. No gold whatsoever. They just made it that way so it's differentiation. Then because of the success of the Washington Quarter series where they came out with the state quarters, they decided, well, maybe we'll get people interested in dollars by making a presidential dollar series. Well, they started in 2006 with the Washington. They came out with 4 every year. That was a fiasco. Right now, there's billions of dollars of unwanted minted dollar coins in storage in Texas that we're paying to store. The banks won't take them. So.
Wow. Let's talk a little bit about sports cards.
Okay.
You know, that is something that I know some of your fondest memories over at the Shore Mall kind of tied into sports figures.
Let's go back in the 50s when I was collecting these things.
Yeah.
Yes, sports cards, as I said, we got into sports cards in the early 90s, so that started getting popular. And we really rode that crest of that wave pretty well up until the 90s when things got so saturated. It's like everything else. When somebody comes up with something good, imitation is a serious form of flattery. However, you can flatter something too much and ruin it. And that's what happened because they made so many sports cards, so many variations. Even, you think, well, gee, I had a Topps set. Well, in the 90s, it wasn't just Topps. Topps had other subsets that they called them. They could be a different color, they could be a different, but I remember trying to look up a card in the mid-90s. I couldn't find the price guide because I didn't know what to look it up under. It was a Topps card. I didn't know what subset they had, but there was some. So that kind of crashed a bit. Now it's been coming back. You're getting the collector back into it, but you're also getting the investor heavily invested in it, no pun intended. Recent sale of a Mickey Mantle rookie card that was graded sold for $12 million. And that card was actually originated in Vineland.
Wow.
A gentleman in Vineland had it. He bought it in the 90s for $50,000. So Uncle Sam is sitting there waiting right now to see what's going to happen with the rest of that money. But this is something that is a potential. I don't support it too much as a major investment vehicle, but other people do. So am I right or wrong? I don't know. Only time's going to work. I also saw where they sold a Mike Trout card. It was 1 of 1. Now, in my mind, that's a manufactured rarity. That isn't something that is legitimate. They made 1 of them intentionally. Mm-hmm. It was a special one of his cards. It was autographed by him.
Wow.
1 of 1. And that was it. And they put it in a pack of cards. And in that, which didn't know where it was. I mean, it could be anywhere. And packs of cards were thousands and thousands and thousands of boxes of these cards were out. One lucky person found the card. and that card sold for $3.8 million.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, and Mike Trout made the comment about, maybe I should have kept that card.
Yeah.
But I think for what he's getting, he has to worry about a baseball card
Yeah.
at this point. But
Share the story with us. I know you had many events over at the Shore Mall, but I would say in previous conversations that probably when Pete Rose was there was probably the all-time biggest.
we filled that mall that day. We were in the mall selling sports cards, and once or twice a year, another outside outfit would come into the mall and run a sports show. And our sales would be down for that weekend. I said, wait a minute, this isn't right. So I was president of Shore Mall Merchants Association at the time, and I went to the manager. I said, look, Rain, let us run the show. We'll run the show. He said, fine, great, that's good. So we did. We started out, we had, Bob Feller was the first one, I believe. Bob Feller was an all-star pitcher. Then we had Sam Jethro and Walt Dropo. Okay, they were correspondingly Rookies of the Year for 1950 for the National League and American League. At that point, both teams, both the Boston Red Sox and the Boston Braves, were in Boston. So they not only shared the Rookie of the Year, they also shared the same city. We evolved, we kept going, we get better, but yes, we culminated with Pete Rose. And not culminated, that was right, we continued after that, but with Pete Rose, that was probably our greatest one. We sold over 1,400 autographs.
Wow.
The mall was busy, and Pete was a gentleman, an absolute gentleman. He came in. We'd gone, picked him up, and he came in. And he says, let me just tell you, I'm not on the clock. You have me for as long as there's somebody here that wants my autograph. Don't care how long, how what, but when they're gone, I'm gone. And he true to his word, he stayed with us. And we'd run not only that, in conjunction with the show, we'd do an auction. I'd do an auction in the evening, on Saturday evening. We'd pick up maybe 50 items that we felt we wanted to auction off. We had use of one of the vacant buildings in the mall at the time. We got chairs in there. It was a great time. We had a good time.
Let's talk about sports signatures. You mentioned Pete Rose. Obviously, that's going to be easy to verify, but talk to us about the process that you do and the company you use to verify signatures when they're questionable.
Sure. Right now, to sell an autograph, you have to have a recognized certificate. Joe Blow used to put certificates out, and Joe Blow didn't care whether the autograph was real or not. So if you see a certificate and you see a name and no address or phone number, you're done. You've got no recourse in that. So we deal with JSA, James Spence Authentic. He's out of North Jersey. He's a personal friend of mine. He's done our shows. He stayed at my home. We socialize together too. Does all the auction houses. He's the top-notch autograph authenticator. So anything that we get in now that has to be authenticated to be sold, he's the one that does it. So we can either send it off to him, it's up in North Jersey, drive it up to him, which we just did a little bit ago. We had a bigger, bulkier stuff. Or I have him come down, stay with me. You want to come down for the weekend? Come on down. And he'll come and we'll set up next door there. And we'll go through all that. Now, we have the potential of buying a large collection next week that probably is not certified. So for that reason, because of that and some other things we've accumulated, we'll probably end up having him come down and doing the authentication of that. Because once you have his certificate, it's sellable. Without his certificate, you're not going to get anything for it.
Let's talk about another professional companies you work with grading of coins, and talk to us how that process works.
Yeah. Not only coins, now they're doing cards, now they're doing comic books, they're doing games, the video, little games, cartridges, things of that nature. What this does is it takes away the subjectivity of the grade. In other words, if I have a coin, I'm going to say it's a better grade than you're going to say as a buyer.
Correct.
I'm going to say it's this. And you're going, no, it's not. Look at that mark on it.
Right.
This takes away the subjectivity of it. This tells the person, and it gives the person a feeling of comfort that the item is what the holder says it is. If it's a silver dollar and it says it's in uncirculated condition, and uncirculated has several subsets to it, an uncirculated coin can be an average uncirculated, a good uncirculated, a better uncirculated, or a gem uncirculated. And they have numeric grades that go along with that makes the differentiation. So, and obviously as you work up the scale, you're working up the value of the grade of the coin too, because the better the grade. And like I said, the three-legged stool with supply, demand, and condition. Well, the condition is one of those legs. To get the value, you've got to have the condition. So for that reason, it's always advisable, especially if it's an expensive coin, to have it graded. Now, we use Numismatic Guarantee Corporation out of Florida. That's the one that we've been with. My dealer number is 18, so you know how long I've been involved with it.
One of the first.
One of the first. Okay, I'm a 2-digit number. So that for that reason, we've been using them for a lot of years. They do currency also. You get the old-fashioned currency, the big notes. Our currency used to be much larger than it is today, starting in the 1860s all the way up through 1928. 28 is when they reduced the size to what it is today. The bigger ones, some of those things are works of art. They're absolutely gorgeous, the engraving, the detail and such on them, and as such are very collectible, very desirable from a collection standpoint.
We're just about out of time, but I want to go through a couple of things real quick, make sure we get them in. Are you limited in what you can buy?
No.
Okay, that's a pretty easy answer.
It can be interpreted in both ways, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Number two, you have a new area here where people can bring their collections when they have an appointment. Is there any other services that you're now able to offer with that additional space that you weren't before?
Yeah. Well, we've always offered on-site purchasing, meaning we can go to either your bank, your home, your lawyer's office, things of that nature. We do state appraisals at lawyers' offices, so for that reason, yes, we travel and can do that. That pretty much we pretty much do whatever. And again, obviously, to travel, it has to be worth our while.
Gotcha.
You know, we can't just hop in the car and go and not collect money for it. We got to make sure that it's worth our while. So it's not going to be one or two items. And the other thing is, as far as what we buy, my last ad listed the items that we have: the coins, the currency, the gold, the silver, things of that nature. And the last item was a question mark. And it says "Ask." So if you have any question, you want to know if we buy it or not, just call.
Okay. Couple rapid fire ones. Comic books.
Comic books.
Collectible?
Chris. Yes.
Okay.
Chris's comics also.
Yes, that was next. Firearms.
Firearm. This is a model 1853 rifle made in London. This may or may not have been used in the Civil War.
Wow.
Because the South imported a lot of firearms from Great Britain because their industry and manufacturing was not great, and as a result, they had to rely on firearms from other countries. And this is a nice condition. This is an antique, and as such that we would be glad to buy it. But we buy modern firearms also. So again, something like this doesn't require permitting, but because it's a muzzle loader, black powder. But modern ones do require permitting. So that yes, we do that. Now also, we buy and sell what they call 1 ounce silver rounds. People want to buy a 1 ounce of silver. This is the thing to do. These are that. These are the American Silver Eagles. The United States government got into the business of making silver coins for investment because they were seeing other countries doing it, making a profit on the process. So why shouldn't we get into it? These are what they call the Silver Eagles. They're called that. They have the design on the front that looks just like a standing Liberty walking Liberty half dollar. Let's see if I can pop it real quick and you get a picture of it.
Wow.
The front of the, and the reverse, this is the new design. This is the new design. They call it an eagle because of all the coins they've made starting in 1986 and through current year. They've had an eagle on the back. Now, from 86 to 2021, it was one design. It was a heraldic eagle. 2021, they changed the design to this design, and this is the one they're going to use going forward. So that is something that people collect. Right now, the government is running all on silver, a very successful program. So there's a bit more of a premium on these than it is on these. This is the corresponding gold eagle. And this takes the condition, design. That design was what was used on the $20 gold piece, the St. Gaudens design gold piece that started in 1907 and went through 1933. And the back on this also features an eagle. This also changed in 2021 from the original design. but this is something if people want a investment in gold, these come in 1 ounce, half ounce, quarter ounce, and 1/10 ounces, and they are again sold for their gold content, so that people can make an investment in either gold or silver.
Okay. Couple final questions. Lionel trains, still buying them?
Still buying them. Unfortunately, our train person, Choo Choo Charlie, isn't here. He's a friend of mine I've known for many years. We actually both worked at the electric company at the same time and developed a very strong relationship. He's a big train collector, train aficionado. He knows trains, and usually what we try to do, he's here on Fridays. So if people have trains that they want to sell, we try to encourage them to come in when Charlie's here so that...
Choo Choo Charlie.
Choo Choo Charlie.
Hess trucks.
Hess trucks. Remember what I said about peaks and valleys?
Yes.
Well, the truck is driving downhill, and there's no end in sight.
But they still make them, though, right? They still make them, right?
They do. We did very well with Hess trucks. When they closed the Hess station in West Atlantic City, we ordered them out of Florida. We get cases of them. We were paying $1 and $2 each in the box. They couldn't be loose. And result, unfortunately, is probably not something we're an active buyer of.
Okay. Obviously, your staff, of course, we know that you're the original Beachcomber and Linda's the other Beachcomber. Right. And, of course, your other members of your staff, who are they?
Yeah, Chris is there working on our takeout window right now. I think Liz is still behind the counter over there. Linda has been in the office taking care of business so that we don't get interrupted. And Card Chris is over next door. We maybe take a run over next door and see what that operation looks like. And
online business, of course, is available. And, of course, appointments are available by calling the phone number. What days do you actually have appointments?
We are open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 10 to 5. And appointments can be made on any one of those days. Obviously, it's conditioned on if there's somebody there already. Again, if you don't have an appointment and you show up, you may or may not be waited on. If somebody's in here already that had the appointment, they're the ones we're going to take care of. If nobody's here, I'm sure that person that's there at the window now didn't have an appointment. However, we're able to take care of them at the window. So that can happen.
Best bet is to always call.
Always call. Always be sure. And I'm not always here. So, for example, if you have a firearm, you have to make sure I'm here and make an appointment for when I'm here, because they can't buy them. They're not licensed, and I'm the only one that can purchase a firearm. So appointments for that are mandatory.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Doug's here. He's been here for 53 years. I got to ask you this one question. When you started 53 years ago, did you ever think that you would be doing it as your major living all these years later?
No.
Did you just kind of consider it a hobby?
And it was a hobby, and it was a means of selling the coins that I'd accumulated, because I had been a collector. I had been involved in a situation where we had an opportunity to purchase a lot of coins, but there was my money in coins. I didn't have the money. So I felt, well, if I can open part-time, if I can do something and get some of my money back, okay, fine, I'm done. It got to the point I loved it. I love what I'm doing. I look forward to coming to work every day. It's not a job. It's fun to be here. But again, this is something that I really enjoy doing and look forward to doing.
Well, thank you for having us back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Beachcomber Coins and Collectibles, 6692 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, right down the road from Boscov's and Walmart. And of course, if you say, well, I'm not quite sure where that's at, just think of the old Cardiff Circle. There you will find us here at Beachcomber Coins and Collectibles. And when you come on by and give them a call, let them know you heard about us right here on TV.